It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hello.
Good morning.
For those that haven't watched the show for a while, we're doing social distances. That's why we're three on set today.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? How was your weekend?
Weekend was
Hi,
good.
Tokwe. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. Everybody's home, you know, but my mom had been watching my WhatsApp story apparently and had seen me do micro shading for many people. And then she had told me like 2 weeks ago that she really wants to do micro shading on her brows. And my thought was, like, she's old, let me just see if I can push it away. Since Friday, we are at home together. My eyebrow, Saturday we are at home together. My eyebrow, by Sunday I couldn't delay it. So I did her brows yesterday. She loves it. Turned out really nice. People are saying, your mom, at what age? What's she using? What's she looking for? Who is she looking for? I'm like, you know, whatever you can do to make your parents happy. She's made sacrifice by staying with me and the family. So
now, when I saw her brows, I'm like, oh goodness, I need to go and do more. I mean, but now
you don't have any excuse anymore.
We're home, right? How you doing, Abia Julian?
Amazing.
Party was on Friday. We saw you dancing,
I was just
dressing,
dancing in the house.
doing makeup.
I dressed up, did a photo shoot in the house, and finally I made food for them late in the evening, just normal rice and salad for everybody to be happy. But I got a lot of messages from friends, fans. My phone kept buzzing. I was replying messages till the middle of the night. I felt so loved.
Comes with the
I felt so
territory.
loved. And I got so much love from you ladies here. I watched the show that day. I said, I was like, hey, it's me, they are praising like this. And Nima called me a troublesome girl in that praise. I started waiting for her. The day I see her on the show, she knows now. So it was a good weekend.
How is COVID-19 lockdown doing? I mean,
so for me,
how has it been in the house?
My children eat per second.
Yeah.
I have already done shopping twice. The lockdown has not started, but I've done shopping twice. They are always eating. So what I did was to write a timetable and append the times. You cannot have breakfast till it's this time. You cannot have snacks till it's this time. You cannot have lunch, and I calculate, or else I will run into trouble.
Usually, but by dinner, the kids have dinner in my house. Usually, before 7, dinner we're done and dusted with the kitchen. Just for these kids now, go 9, Mommy, I'm hungry. I'm like,
I want
what? Hungry? No, can't sleep. And they start crying because they're actually hungry.
They will cry.
So they're looking for bread or something to snack, or maybe like just something small they can have at night. But they are constantly hungry.
So it's the arranging of house that is my own problem.
No, that one is another problem.
The rearranging of the house, the scattering, the arranging. They want to scatter, they want to arrange, they want to draw, they want to paint.
Yeah,
and
I have that.
There's so much activity that they want to carry out. So I now had to, and my husband is rarely at home that long with the children. So I can hear shouting. I say, calm down, they are children. He said, well, I said, let them play. They are meant to play. When they're scattering, I said, let them scatter. We would arrange. You know, so like,
Number did a video. Number a fanga. She did a video on fathers, how are they coping? Because many of them are not used to staying home at this time. They just wake up very early and they're out in the house. So having to be with the kids is a whole different experience for a lot of fathers.
All the questions.
It's not that they see that something is dirty. How come they not clean this place? I'm wondering, calm down.
You don't understand what we're going
surviving in this house. Now you notice that the table is dirty, the floor is not clean. Please, we're all on lockdown. You might as well just grab a mop and mop it yourself.
I realize it's also difficult for fathers and mothers to be on the same page when it comes to disciplining the children. The father will want to go this way. The mother is always the witch in the house at this stage.
My husband went to Ketu Market yesterday. He said he felt like eating okra and vegetable soup. So he went to Ketu Market, bought all the things, got into the kitchen. Pieces, usually I'll be the one to be cutting. He will not be throwing into the pot, and in his mind he has cooked. But this time I just formed busy from start to finish.
Wow.
When he tasted his okra and vegetable soup, I was like, I still know how to cook. Oh. My mom now went to eat it, and I was like, okay. She took a full bowl. Like, I said, my husband used to cook a lot, but after a while, so lockdown, go back to the kitchen, Mr. Mark.
It will take more than COVID-19 to get my own husband to cook. In fact, there has to be a global, as in, there's nothing, cook. Anyway, let's go to the break. It's Monday. Lots of things happening. People are talking. People are happy about the fact that lots of people are donating to the containment of this virus. But at the same time, Sarah is saying, follow the money. So we'll discuss a bit about that. But first, let's go through the front pages of the newspapers after this break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Buhari shuts down Lagos, Abuja, Ogun for 14 days. 100 billion naira healthcare stimulus. CBN sets 2 billion naira limit for borrowers. Why I beheaded 4-year-old nephew by suspect. Tinubu, I didn't call for printing of Naira notes. I have been working from home, says Abba Kyari. Row over cause of Akure explosions. Lots of story. Let's talk about
the explosion in Akure.
Akure, yes. Let's start with that.
So, officially, the statement is that a truck conveying dynamite exploded in this on the highway, destroyed many houses. One man was lamenting that he built his house with over 4 million naira, and now the entire house is down. Someone said the tire rim fell into his house. But the National Space Research Development Agency, NASDA, has said that it could also actually be a meteoric suspension that fell from space, asteroid belt, on great speed, and that they have their agents on ground to do independent investigation. That because most of the time when things like that happen, if something falls from space, we don't observe enough to confirm whether it is or it isn't. And then they said there was a deep pit that was on the ground. So obviously it can't just be from the explosion alone. But we're waiting to see what's going to happen. The state governor has promised to compensate those that have suffered from this.
Yeah, thank God nobody died, which is a good thing. There was a human interest story, somebody beheaded a child.
Yeah, so this particular young man, a 20-year-old man, Uchechi Eze, apparently had some marijuana, and when he was done, he just took an axe, went in and beheaded his 4-year-old nephew, then pulled off his clothes and ran away. Investigations were started immediately. He was picked up at a joint where he was still there smoking, and he confessed to the crime, saying that he didn't know what he smoked that made him to commit that offense. So he's been arrested. They're looking into the case, and I think it's a mental issue because I think also we need to start getting psychologists involved in these investigations to really...
Okay, Chief of Staff Abba Kyari said that he's home. He's been working from home. Those of you saying that he traveled, well, he's saying he's around. He's actually moving to Lagos yesterday. According to the story, he moved to Lagos yesterday.
We want to see a video.
And he needs some proper medical attention, so he's getting that in Lagos.
Honestly,
but he's
like to see
working from home, according to...
We'd like to see a video of him in Lagos.
You don't need to see a video of him. At least he said it's
a public servant now. We own him. We pay for his salary.
He can work from home. Calm down.
Moving on to Vanguard. COVID-19, Buhari orders lockdown in Lagos, FCT, Ogun. Why I went into one chance robberies by female gang member. FG failed to explore testing options, says experts. Set up to FG, published weekly spending on COVID-19. Tinubu donates 200 million naira to Lagos government. UI College of Medicine Provost Deputy Immigration Boss tests positive. Akure explosion, we talked about that already. COVID-19 outlook for foreign investors in Treasury bill dims. And global infection hits 700,000 as experts predict 200,000 deaths in US alone. Okay, let's start with...
people testing positive. The army is current. Everybody is scared in the army right now. About 20 people, top officials of the army, have already gone into quarantine, self-isolation. They also say top 5 officials within the army have tested positive. The immigration Contra General tested positive. The CMD, Chief Medical Director of University Teaching Hospital Ibadan, tested positive. We also have the UI, the UI College of Medicine Provost and Deputy also tested positive. This is not a joke. And I think that we shouldn't, people watching, some of the people watching are still in doubt about it. That's why I'm specifically mentioning all this.
Yes, I'm even worried that the people testing positives are those who are not even showing any signs of any symptoms of the COVID-19. The people out there who are showing signs already are finding it difficult to get these testing kits, to have these tests carried out on them. So we should not just make it for the elites. What I'm saying is more for the elites.
We'll talk about it. I mean, that's obviously what we're talking about. But let me pick another story. Serap is saying, listen, we need a breakdown. of how, because we're hearing money flying left, right, clinical billion, clinical
so on the
1 billion,
27th of March.
So Serap is asking.
Serap sent a letter.
Right.
Okay.
Using the Freedom of Information Bill to demand there should be a weekly report from the Minister of Health how much money is being spent. Beyond the donation, how much is the government spending on a weekly basis breakdown that the people of Nigeria have a right to know how their resources is being spent to protect the interests of Nigerians, who got the contract, what was supplied, every breakdown to be given. And I am excited about this, and I'm waiting for what the Minister of Health is going to do at the end of this week. Yes, we want to see that.
It wouldn't make sense that they're asking it now, not that much later. After
so you should know that there's a weekly audit, so that you don't save it till later.
We have time to do a weekly audit.
Moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. COVID-19, Buhari locks down Lagos, Ogun, Abuja. UCHMD College of Medicine Provost, we talked about that, all test positive. Fayemi Oyetola, other lockdown in Ikiti and Osun. Nigeria records 14 new COVID-19 cases as numbers hit 111. So Governor Fayemi, Osun, and others have implemented the lockdown across their states, and that has made vehicle movement difficult. People are finding it difficult to cross the borders.
People were stranded that they were supposed to go somewhere else, and now they are stuck where they are.
Especially since our president mentioned that yesterday. So
the president gave us notice. The president's notice is till 11.
11 p.m. yesterday.
11 p.m.
Last
Monday.
Monday. So we have time. Unlike other states that there wasn't, they felt that people felt there wasn't enough notice to move to their preferred location.
Moving on now to Daily Sun. Buhari orders lockdown in Lagos, Abuja, Ogun. Let's find a story we've not taken. Commuters stranded as Delta enforces border closure. Pastor Adeboye identifies who will die of coronavirus. That's sensational. Anambra announces closure of Onitsha River Niger Bridge. And COVID-19 fears in armed forces as top officials test positive. Okay.
Anambra State quickly?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so they've announced that they're going to be closing the Onitsha Bridge, as well as Delta State is closing its borders already. Enugu is closing their borders, and they're saying that the only vehicles that will be allowed on the bridge are those vehicles that are conveying food and medicines. Aside from that, Anambra State has trained heads of department from 21 local governments to be equipped for this COVID-19 battle or fight, as we speak, saying that they got this because they were actually very prepared for the Lassa fever, and they are now using the same templates they used for Lassa fever to handle COVID-19.
A lot of governors are acting like, they're taking the responsibility of protecting people, and it's really good. And we're seeing those that are not doing anything.
Okay. General Overseer quickly?
Sorry?
Yes.
General Overseer.
Yes, now that he has identified those that...
Sensational.
Yes, don't mind them.
Come on. My mom made us watch Dope TV yesterday, so we watched the service morning and evening, and I did not understand where they got that headline from.
He just said that if only those whose time is up, that is like almost a...
that will die. And this is a compulsory holiday, which the Lord has shown him before. So everybody should sit back at home and enjoy their holidays, hoping that this will pass.
I like what he said. He's particularly enjoyed the holiday. I was supposed to be in 4 countries within April, that he's supposed to travel to 4 countries and do 4 Holy Ghost services, and now he gets to sleep at home throughout April.
Wake up and eat.
He's so happy. I think some people are benefiting.
But he gave us hope that these two shall pass.
Definitely.
Moving on to The Guardian. Let's see how long we have. Buhari shuts down Lagos, Abuja, Ogun for 14 days. Why 5 million metering gap may persist, and that's because of the COVID-19. Global shortage of testing capacity ventilators threaten efforts to contain the COVID-19. Concerns mount over underground water pollution in Lagos communities. I know that yesterday, or was it last week actually, when we spoke to Honorable Brimo concerning water shortages in certain parts of Lagos State, he sent me a message that actually is being worked on, and the commissioner in charge has taken up the message, and they are definitely working to ensure that water is restored, especially in those communities, in Magodo, Satellite, and a few other areas that had water shortages. Okay, so they're telling us metering might actually continue the gap, the 5 million gap, because of having issues with importing these meters. But I'm hoping that by the president's utterance yesterday, the ports will understand that work must go on, because the president did say that those are essential services that the ports must be open. Yeah, okay, I think that's our last paper. Let's take this day very quickly. Buhari locks down Lagos, Ogun, Abuja's COVID-19 cases rise to 111. We'll be discussing about our president's speech in a moment. But first, we'll go for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So yesterday, our president addressed the nation over the pandemic that is raging the entire world, COVID-19. We would like to hear your views on the president's speech. You can give us your view by calling 070-80668014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We have been asking that the president say something to us. Everybody has been trying to push the president to give a statement, at least, so that we put a face to the leadership that we're seeing. But he spoke yesterday, and there are various views on how it came across to Nigerians. I'd like to start with the ladies. What are your thoughts when you heard the president's speech yesterday? Did it give you some kind of a relief that we are on top of this containment?
I was really happy to hear from him.
Okay.
I was very, very happy to hear from him. It was dispelling multiple rumors. One, it shows that he actually listens to us, which is what we expect from our leaders. It also dispels the rumor of his health is compromised, because we saw that he stood the entire time.
19 minutes.
And we wanted to be sure that our president was healthy and on top of what is happening. Right. And he got all the pronunciations right, so we're happy about that.
Yes.
It's not to, and I think that many Nigerians that were making fun of the last clips, or generally just making fun, it's not to our advantage to have a president that is not on top of this game. It is not to our advantage to make jest of our president. It is to our advantage to have a president that knows what he's doing, because our entire country and our lives literally now are in his hands and in the hands of the people that he's working with. So we were not asking because we wanted to mock or wanted to complain. We were asking because we were genuinely worried. Right. And his speech has given us a bit of hope.
But there was talk about, that's just his style. His handlers told us, that's just the kind of leadership he is. That's the kind of leadership he shows.
Not a speaker.
He's not the kind of person that speaks. He expects that those working with him should do their job
while he's doing the work.
But in your view, Bisi, do you feel that his speech gave you some kind of assurance?
Yes, he actually gave me assurance. I watched from the beginning to the end, and I was just listening to hear the actions that he's going to be taking to curb this, and which he listed some of the actions. In fairness to him, because I watched, I did not hear from the papers. He mentioned that they have recruited 100 ad hoc staff that will be working hand in hand with the NCDC that will help to, some of them are going to be in the call centers where you can, the emergency calls, and others are going to be tracing those patients that we are looking for who probably have the COVID-19 and all of that. And he was even appealing to governors of states to, bring out more health professionals in this fight so that the NCDC can train them. He also talked about how he was, according to him, he had a 2-point agenda which he was working on. The first was to protect the lives of the citizens of Nigeria, and the second one was to ensure that their livelihood and their work and businesses are protected. So he had something that he planned to do for the trader money, suspending loans and all of that. So when he was talking, all I could hear was, this is a man of action for me. He's not a speaker. Okay, he's not an eloquent, just come and bamboozle us. He is telling us step by step what we're going to do.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, many people got the fact that now it shows that the government is doing something. But there's also that part of dealing with the task at hand. Let me explain. Okay. Some people feel that, yes, there's the COVID-19, yes, there's a lockdown, yes, there are palliatives, but there's also the issue of how many people are infected. Okay. How are we ensuring that these guys are coming forward? So there wasn't a specific game plan of, okay, not an appeal to Nigerians that if you are in that flight, please, I need you all to come forward. I need you to go to this place for testing. We need to know what your status is. Or like a father talking to children saying, guys, I know you're scared, you're afraid, everything seems like we're on lockdown and there's a lot going on. However, I want you to get tested so we know your status, so you don't spread. There's a way you communicate where people feel like, okay, our father, somebody you're connecting with the people. Some people say they didn't get that from his speech.
Within that space, I would say that's not his personality. Actually, giving speeches is not his personality, but it is his responsibility. And his handlers were trying to dodge him from taking that responsibility as a leader. I'm happy that he finally decided to do what might not be comfortable for him, but necessary. Yes. The breakdown was comprehensive. It wasn't detailed enough in terms of giving us data, statistics of number of people and all of that. But we've been having that feedback from the Minister for Health and SCDC. And that's on one side. The second side is, I would have wanted a place where it was a media chat, where people could ask questions. But I could also understand the fact that they don't want him to, he's an old person. He's at risk of interfacing people, and if he gets it, he's more at risk. So there are many factors towards it, but I want to hear more of this.
So let me take this call. Good morning, are you there? Oh, I'm so sorry. Do try to call back.
All right. Yes. So the thing is, when you understand someone, you know how to deal with that person. I wasn't expecting a connection from the president today because I know it is not in his personality and he's not going to give me that. Okay. So because I knew him, I focused on what he was, the content, what he was, the action plans. And I also did not expect him to give me the details because there are different departments that are going to be handling all of those tiny little details. He will tell us this is what the government has given a directive on. Those ministries will take over and tell me, okay, we're breaking it down to 2 people per day or 3 people per day. That's how it's going to happen. But I also realized that he didn't capture people who are disabled in the society. There was nothing mentioned about disabled people or how they, because with this 14-day, what's it called now, lockdown, these people are going to find it difficult to move around. There was nothing in that regard. And like those people who handle the president to also, speak about it. What are your plans for the disabled people? What about somebody who is pregnant and wants to go deliver at this time during the lockdown?
The hospitals are essentials.
Yes, I know. Yeah, so that is just the little things I didn't see. But he gave us the action plan. Let's go back as citizens and do the work.
Okay, so fine. We're going to round up on this. But yes, we're happy he spoke. But sometimes you want that continuous conversation. So from his speech, it's almost conclusive. Okay, I have given you the instructions, I have told you, and that's it. You don't need to hear from me again. It doesn't sound like somebody's coming back to speak to me again, next, giving me an update. So that's what Nigerians are saying. It's just so...
Another worry is that can he impose a lockdown without the House of Assembly backing it with a law? Because there should be... Because Lagos State said it, and like a day after, the Lagos State House of Assembly implemented passed a bill which the governor signed. So now there's a legal framework for that because somebody can go and contest and say something because it isn't yet backed legally.
Anyways, we'd like to hear Nigerians' views. I'd really like to get a few calls on your thoughts on the president's speech. But let me go on a quick break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So I want to take a few tweets on Nigerians first before I round up on this, on their thoughts on the president's speech. Do you have a few tweets, please?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Debbie says, with this compulsory stay at home, kindly help tell Water Corporation to give us water. We can't do without water. As Yusuf Alawale says, I can say confidently that haters are now disappointed. PMB is trying, and I think action speaks better than voice. Ahmed Tuko says, the government has locked down movement of most activity in some states, and there's no improvement in the spread of COVID. I think the government should apply another strategy and stop the spread of virus.
All right, so let's move on now. In commemoration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 68th birthday, he wrote an open letter to the federal government advising them on some of the economic measures that need to be taken to avert the country going into deep recession due to the outbreak of COVID-19. Joining us is a top chartered accountant and a former commissioner for finance in Lagos State, Honorable Ayo Beleyi, managing partner, GA Capital Limited. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning.
Yes.
Good. How are you doing
Very
today?
Good. Please okay. We wanted to ask you concerning Asiwaju's speech. He did ask that VAT be suspended and there should be some kind of a tax holiday for certain companies. A lot of people are saying, is this the right approach at this time? What do you think?
Well, first, let me congratulate our national leader, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, on his 60th birthday. We wish him many happy returns of self-less consistent service to about Asiwaju's speech, which is aptly titled A Time for Unity, A Time for Thought, and A Time for Action, which was released yesterday. I would, of course, supports all of the thoughts that he has put together in that documentation. First, when we talk about the issue of stimulus package, as you might have noticed, a lot of other countries, developed economies,
we're having trouble getting through to him with the Skype. Maybe we'll try and give him a phone call. The reason why I wanted to speak to him, because a lot of people have raised a few objections on some of the points. Others have applauded it. Others are saying maybe it's not the right time. So I'd like us to review, for those of you that have the list, those of you that have no idea what Asiwaju has said. He made a few points. Let me let Biajulu.
So I have it here. It says, number one, maintaining or expanding present levels of government spending, focusing expenditure on public infrastructure and transportation if the virus does not hit strongly, and healthcare if it does, tax reduction and VAT suspension, food security, lower interest rates, quantitative easing by the CBN to prop up financial markets, which they are doing already, exchange rate flexibility, debt suspension to support individuals and the private sector, and direct economic support for the poor. Yeah. So these are the 9
I'm told we have Honorable Bella back on the phone. Sir, are you there? Hello? Okay, I think we're still trying to link. So, Tokwe, let me come to you on this. What do you think about Asiwaju's points, especially the fact that he also donated 200 million naira to the fight of for COVID-19? In your thoughts, what do you think?
I think that everybody that speaks up right now, saying anything to help encourage what is ongoing, because really coronavirus is something we had no plan for. COVID-19 is something we did not, it's not something we understand fully. So everything we can do to ameliorate the impact of this economically is good. Okay. So for me, the reduction of VAT suggestion and all of those were fantastic points that I believe the government should. It's about reducing the impact on the common man, and I believe they are nice.
All right, let me come back to him. Commissioner, are you still, former Commissioner Honorable Ayo Bele, are you still there, sir?
Yes, good morning.
Okay, yeah, good to have you back.
Yeah, nice to be with you.
Just earlier this year, there was that move to increase VAT to 7.5%. Yes, he met with a lot of backlash, but now Asiwaju is saying they should take it off or suspend it. And people are thinking, is that the right action at this time?
Well, clearly, it's one of the actions that government must seriously consider. We realize the fact that, yes, government revenues at this point will be challenged, but the reality is that we need businesses to continue to work. We need people, entrepreneurs, to continue to work so that we can enhance productivity. In other jurisdictions, stimulus packages are being introduced by government. Remember, I mean, the United States just signed about 2.2 trillion stimulus package, you know, to ensure that their economic stay on track, even post-corona. Therefore, it is apt that we must consider very seriously a suspension of the increase in VAT for the next couple of months to enable businesses continue to employ people, continue to produce and manufacture goods and services that are required at this point in time for us to tide over the corona pandemic.
Yeah, so, sir, one of the recommendations that he mentioned, which I applaud, is the fact that he wants the federal government to give direct economic support to the poor. But I am wondering, is there like a framework that he came up with to guide the federal government to carry this out? Because I know that Lagos State on its own is doing something in that regard, but generally, is there like a framework that he came up with for this?
Well, you know, the federal government has since launched the Social Intervention Program, SIP, that is anchored by the Ministry of Humanitarian Services. So what the recommendation is, and what, if you also listen to the President's broadcast yesterday, what he has said is that the beneficiaries of those initiatives must now be paid about 2 months of their stipends up front. And for the beneficiaries of trader monies and the rest of them, artisans, that they will now be given certain level of interest forbearance for another couple of months or 3 months in order to enable them to survive this situation that, you know.
All right, let me just ask you this final question. As a former commissioner for finance in Lagos, you might have a perspective on the fact that SERAP is asking for a weekly report, a breakdown of how much is being spent on COVID-19. Everybody is donating. There's money being spent all over the place. Contracts are being given even in the midst of this crisis. Yet, we have no idea how much money is being spent. So Serap is asking that every week there should be some kind of audited report. Do you agree? And if you do agree, how do we go about this, ensuring that Nigerians have some kind of record of how much money has been spent so far on this pandemic?
I think what would be wise in order to enhance accountability and transparency is probably to consider during this situation setting up a proper trust fund that will be managed by both public sector, private sector, like civil society, professional bodies, for, accountability, so that the people can see that it's not just government that is responsible for accounting or spending most of these resources that have been made available by, public-spirited Nigerians, institutions and organizations, including the federal government itself and state government as well. But then you now have proper governance regime and oversight on how the funds are managed and are administered. So I think it's incumbent on government to be in a position to be able to produce like a weekly statement of affairs that can be shared in public domain. Recently, government launched the Treasury Portal. I think that's a very, very suitable platform where government can also, upload the data on a weekly basis of what is being done in terms of what donation has come through and what expenditure has been incurred.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this morning. We've been speaking with the former Commissioner for Finance Lagos, Honorable Ayo Gbeleyi. He's the managing partner at GA Capital Limited. Okay, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll be getting the governor, the executive governor of Osun State, to join us and let us know what they're doing in their state to fight the pandemic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have with us the Executive Governor of Osun State, His Excellency, Mr. Gboyega Oyetola. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. Good to have you on the show. So we know that there are 2 confirmed cases in Osun State. What are you doing so far to contain this?
Well, first of all, we have 2 cases. And the 2 cases are responding to treatment. We've gone into doing contact tracing to see if they have contact with other people, and they are cooperating with us. We've asked health officers to get in touch with those people that have been so contacted to monitor them and see if they have any symptoms. Right. In addition to that, we've actually decided to close our borders like some other states have done, because we realized that these cases came from people that traveled and came to Nigeria. So to ensure that we don't continue to have the same effect, we decided to close our borders as well. In addition to that, we are doing a total lockdown by 31st of this month, which is Tuesday night, to ensure that we can contain the possible spread of the virus without people to have foodstuff in the house to last them for about 2 weeks, so that there are no movement at all.
Okay.
All
right. Let me get some credit. Okay,
sir. So a few countries have been able to manage this pandemic well. It started from China, and they've gotten substantial results. Singapore, I watched an interview of the Prime Minister of Singapore, and he was talking about the detective work carried out to ensure that there is adequate tracing of everybody involved. But there was a problem also we had with the speech. Mariah was saying that the president didn't communicate with us to say people should voluntarily submit themselves if they've had any interaction with someone that has come from from any of these zones where it's already full-blown. How are you communicating with people in your state, in Osun State, to ensure that we have that level of compliance where people will voluntarily come to the government, to the hospitals to say, my cousin came back so and so time, I interacted with this person, and might be, or are you saying they should just sit down at home and self-isolate?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we are very large extent people are cooperating with us. We have an emergency plan. I want to tell you that people volunteer information about people that are coming, whether it's their relations. We tell us the address. In fact, the man or the woman are just coming, and of the location, and it's been quite very, they do a lot. But I want to appeal them by way of my speech and by way of video jingles and video television that to encourage people that it's not a death warrant.
Right.
It's a question of discovering early enough for people to be treated.
Right.
And so that we know that, so we encourage them to enter information. And I think they are responding.
All right. Good.
Yeah, so you've advised them, your citizens in the state, to stock up for this lockup that is going to be starting tomorrow, which is Tuesday.
Yes.
Is there any plan to help support?
In effect, it starts actually starting on Wednesday morning.
Okay, Wednesday morning. Okay, that's fine. So they have enough time to stock up. But is there any plan to support those people who cannot afford to really stock up at these times?
Well, we're looking at some level of support. I've asked to be drawn up. If we can have specific places where people can access this. But in doing so, we're not for the salary. We don't want innovation. So we're already working on it. To see if anybody can run a food store can add.
Okay, so have you paid salaries, sir? Oh, we've
lost that call.
It wasn't clear.
It was really difficult getting a very clear reception, but we'll try calling him back. But so far, I mean, we obviously all the state governors seem to be on top of these. Many of them have activated lockdowns within the states. Many of them are already giving palliatives to their citizens. And obviously, based on what we've heard so far from our president and from the governors, many people are coming forward. But I'm actually very keen on how Lagos State is doing, and I hope we can get to speak to somebody very soon. But I'm told that the governor of the Osun State is back on the phone. Yes, sir. Tokpa was asking earlier that have you paid salaries?
I'm happy to tell you that we pay salary to all our workers.
Oh, great.
Maybe lockdown, we will ensure that everybody has the opportunity of having a salary paid and for a shield to be able to stop some stuff for the period of lockdown.
All right, so so many governors are having isolation centers. What center do you have in Osun State, and how equipped is this your center, if you do have one in your state?
Yeah, we have two, one in Israel.
Okay.
And I want to tell you, this is the equipped. The one we show me have 7 ventilators. It's just a cure. In the event of any event, we're trying to put more.
Right.
The problem is that nobody available.
Okay.
I've been handled by
Okay, all right.
So Mr. Governor, sir, this question is for you and every other governor we have, because we've heard that there's a stimulation package that you are helping to ameliorate the issues. But how are you appealing to landlords within your state? Because businesses residing within those states have to shut down and they have paid rent. Are you in any way appealing to help find a balance between business owners and their landlords or the owners of the building to find a way to find a middle ground so that they don't incur so much loss within this period?
Well, it's an approach that we are doing to everybody, we all stakeholders, and this is the time to make a lot of changes. So we are appeal to landlords to ensure that they are not too hard on their tenants. And again, we even ensure people have access to the food store. We encourage even some of the traders to display their wares in front of their houses, their respective places, so that if people run to difficulty in getting food stuff, since the market is not open, they can have access to pocket of opportunity to buy things, display on their, in front of their respective houses. Landlords have been appealed to, and I believe that people appreciate the fact that this is an emergency situation and it causes full of sacrifice on the part of everybody.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the show this morning. Really appreciate that. We've been speaking with the Executive Governor of Osun State, Mr. Gboyega Oyetola. But we're trying to link up very quickly with, hopefully, the Special Advisor to the Lagos State Government on Health. We're hoping to get her soon to give us an update, especially because, hey, this is where the action is going. We have about 59 or so cases in Lagos State. And obviously, with this 14-day lockdown, we can hopefully contain it totally. But people are concerned about the fact that it seems people are not bringing 68 cases in Lagos. It seems people are not offering themselves up for testing in Lagos State, which can be a problem because now we've built this multi-millionaire isolation center in Onikom, and nobody might actually use it. And there's more money coming in. So people are concerned exactly how Lagos State intends to ensure that all those who are genuinely in need to be isolated come forward so that they can be properly tested. So we'll try to get in somebody very quickly. But let me hear your thoughts on it so far.
I wanted to quickly say that I don't think people are not coming out to be tested. The problem I see, because we've had cases, even people publishing on the internet that we are ready to be tested. I have gone to the hospitals, they are sending me back. There was a particular comedian who has been shouting that he's gone to the hospital, they sent him back from one yaba to another corner, to back to that same corner, and they didn't test him. So we have people who are ready to be tested, but what I hear more are those ones who have the wherewithal are the ones who are getting tested with their aids. So it's not about people not coming out to be tested. It's the fact that the testing is not getting to the people who actually need it at the moment. That's what we need to talk about.
So the information out there is not so much as those that have influence are the ones getting tested. The Minister for Health spoke yesterday on another news platform, and I watched it, and this question was brought up. And his statement was, we don't have enough testing kits to just test every random person that feels that I have cold or cough. So you have to prove that you've, one, just come back from a country where this is already raging, which is like the London, US, all of that. That's one. Number two, you have to prove that you've had one-on-one contact with somebody who's already positive. Because if that comedian has not had any contact with someone who is positive for coronavirus, why would we use an expensive test kit to just confirm you are negative? And then you now test so many people and they're negative. So for anybody who just came back and you are at risk, they will test you. And if you just came back or you had interactions that just came back, anybody that has had interaction with someone that is positive, you get tested. So let's not just...
We'll try to bring in, I mean, I know we're trying to get the special advisor, we can't reach her, but there's another angle of this story I'd like us to talk about, because we're going to cover all the issues you've raised. We're going to bring in somebody tomorrow to help us understand why, because we even saw stories of people going to general hospital and being sent
and being sent
back.
There's
fear.
This particular one showed all of the symptoms.
There are definitely issues concerning it. But first, I want us to go to the issue of consumer protection. Because during this period, lots of people are actually raising prices of goods and services that people can actually, like food services. So we have with us the executive, the chief executive of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council, Mr. Babatunde Irukera, to enlighten us on the agency, what the agency is doing during this critical period. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning. How are you?
Good to have you. We saw a video by one of the celebrities, I think it was Kafi, saying that she went to buy ginger, something that used to buy like a basket for 1,000 naira. Suddenly, that same basket was costing her 5,000 naira. And we have quite a few other stories very similar to that, because prices of pepper,
aloe vera gel,
sanitizers,
so many things out there that suddenly the prices have gone up, not to 100%, 300%, in some cases 500% increase. What can you do to help us in this situation?
Well, and this is something that has been a problem from the very first time, from the day the first index case was identified in Nigeria. We put out an advisory immediately, letting people know that it was a violation of law to gouge prices, that is unconscionable or excessive pricing of products. And we've been doing a lot of monitoring and enforcement work on that. As a matter of fact, some of the large supermarket and pharmacy chains have come under some regulatory activity. And we're continuing to do that, especially with basic hygiene products and medical supplies. We're seeing that it's the case also with food in the markets, and we've done some work on that in Lagos and Abuja. But quite frankly, it's very widespread, and as far as the capacity to monitor and enforce across the board, that is lacking, because you're talking about a problem that is across the entire country. And so what we've been doing is we created an application, an online application, where we're harvesting information and having people send WhatsApp messages with locations and things that have happened there and photographs. And so we would be looking to also carry out enforcement activities after the fact. Right. One of the things I did was to hold a video conference with the Market Association in Onitsha, letting them know that this is something that's going to be problematic. In the coming days, we'll file the first criminal charges against a few large operators. And that way, I hope that it constitutes a deterrent to others.
Okay. Yes, sir. So this is an issue that trickles down from other sectors, such as transportation, because if you go into the local market and ask them why they have the prices increased with over 500 or 300%, they will tell you that the transportation has increased. And this is a problem with Nigerians. For every time there is a little crisis, everybody across board increases their prices. So my question is, how are you going to handle this without liaising with other departments or other aspects of the economy that connect to this? For instance, transportation, in terms of bringing in goods and services. Because if those transportation increase, the goods, it will have an effect on the goods and services that we get.
Well, I mean, I think you're correct about how it plays across the board. But our approach to enforcement right now is, this has been custom in Nigeria for prices to be gouged anytime. Even at an indication that prices of fuel may increase, people start hoarding and increasing fuel prices. And so, as far as I know, this is the first time any regulator taking this kind of action, even identifying it as a potential problem and seeking to enforce it. And so what we're finding out is that a good number of those who are doing this do not even recognize that, I mean, they recognize that it's exploitative, but they don't recognize that it's a violation of law. So I'm pretty sure that after this emergency, both consumers and suppliers are beginning to realize that this is a violation of law and that there is a regulator somewhere looking to enforce it as a matter of law. I think the vast majority of people truly just want to comply with the law. And so if more people know that it's a violation of law and they don't do that, then it will be, the enforcement will be far easier because it will be the other half or less than half.
Okay, sir.
Sadly, this situation we find ourselves is a learning curve. Right. We're doing everything we can.
Okay, go ahead. So
we hear these things about, oh, we're already working on it, we're working on it, we've done some. What specifically can be done? What can your department do? What will your agency, what's the punishment for disobeying? If I'm able to prove that a pharmacy was selling chloroquine for 500 naira and within 24 hours of the president of President Donald Trump in the US saying chloroquine can cure, they increased the price to 2.5, which I know happened. What will happen to that pharmacy? What can I do? How do I report? And because people need to understand that there's consequence to those actions. Then they will be able to, they will stop themselves from doing what they want to do, which is exploitative and taking advantage of the situation. What's the punishment?
And that is correct. And as a matter of fact, that's why I said, much less because we want to punish people, but more as a deterrent. We're looking to file criminal charges in the coming days. But our workforce is being tailed down by as announced by the federal government. And then access to the court itself from a public health standpoint are challenges. But we're doing everything we can so that if we file some charges, others will know that there's potential criminal liability. As far as what the remedies are, like I said, most of it being criminal prosecution or some kind of a regulatory intervention that provides civil penalties. Right. But then both, whether prosecution or civil penalties, require some level of investigation. And that investigation is quite painstaking. For instance, in some of the cases that we have seen, the fact that the price is high doesn't necessarily mean that supplier, that retailer is gouging. So sometimes if the price is high and the margin is only 20%, so that means the gouging isn't happening by that retailer. It happened before the retailer. So we have to track it down to the supplier and all the way down to the manufacturer. So it's not that open and closed. It requires quite some work before you come to a point of determining that someone has violated the law.
All right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So unfortunately, we lost the call. We're speaking with the Chief Executive of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council, Mr. Babatunde Irukera. And he has enlightened us on how we can ensure that goods, if you suspect anywhere that goods are being increased, you can actually send them reports to their agency, and they'll definitely look into it. As we wrap up, I know let's take a few tweets, please.
Okay, I have Mr. Adebayo here who says you can't be having speech somersaulting, as in case of the president outside the country who severally has been scolded for spreading unverified information regarding COVID-19. Responsible governments act proactively and talk less at times like this. Action speaks more volume. M.I. Abaga says you should know that the reason why the top know their status is because they have access to testing and taken to isolation. The lower level haven't done tests, therefore there's risk for the lower level to keep spreading the virus without knowing.
I'd like to go back to that previous tweet. So listen, we can complain. No, we like to complain now.
Yes.
Because we never see anything
That's what
good.
this guy is saying, yeah.
We believe that with Nigeria, we don't have it under control. But the truth is that the rest of the world doesn't have it under control. It's horrible in the US. It's horrible
everywhere.
In Spain. We have 111 cases, yes. And we have not really lost anybody except for one person.
Yes.
So the point is that give us some credit. Yes, he's not giving us a live speech. Yes, he's not speaking to us.
I
would have loved for him to say my children, but unfortunately, that's not his style.
That's not his style.
But let us give us some credit. Nigeria has shown that we are on top of this, and I think that's the least we can do as a people is support the government when they do well.
And then call out your fellow Nigerians. The person increasing price of ginger is not the president. The person that increased the price of aloe vera gel and sanitizer is not the president. They are Nigerians like us, and so we should call them out. Let's be our brother's keeper. Let's go out of our way to be kind to one another this season, not exploiting that this is a business. This is not a business opportunity. This is not a time to make a kill. This is a time to rally up and protect one another. And I think that should be the focus.
On that note, I think we can end the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a fabulous day. Bye-bye for now.